So, we just saw a really, really good movie today. It was so much fun. So much fun.
Not like those DC movies.
Those wonderful DC movies. So dark. So brooding.
So gritty. Don't sue us, DC. Please?
Yes. We saw Deadpool too.
a fucking hilarious movie.
Very, very hilarious.
At minimum, this is on par with the first one. At minimum.
I have not seen the first one since it came out in theaters, but I think I like number 2 better.
I mean, I'm sorry, I'm just like... There's like leftover laughs in me from seeing it.
Yes.
Just... Oh, there was so much good in it, though. Where do we even start with this shit?
The trailers we saw? Just to get like that?
But the Bob Ross, though?
Oh, no. I meant like the trailers we saw in the theater.
Oh, okay. If we're gonna start there, sure. Most of them were, for me at least, were kind of bad. They seem like rehashes for the most part.
I'm kind of looking forward to the Queen movie.
That's one I wouldn't. I would say yes. That one's not a bad one. Most of them are rehashes. That's one of like the 3 I'm gonna say that weren't.
Yeah, since I am kind of a Queen fan, I
think a great music. I'm not even gonna lie about that. They're great.
Yeah, they have a lot of good history to them, and I actually heard that Sacha Baron Cohen was going to be Freddie Mercury, but their initial plan for the movie, and I'm not too sure if this is still what the movie is about, but Freddie was supposed to die halfway through the movie due to his AIDS, and then have the second half about the band carrying on without him, and he just didn't want to do that because, I forget what he compared it to, like the main character dying halfway through a film. He didn't want anything to do with that.
Interesting.
But apparently he does have a pretty good singing voice. There was that R-rated puppet movie that looks hilarious.
The one that Sesame Street tried to sue. Yes, that movie, Happy Time Murders. Holy shit, that looks great. Like, just ridiculous shit left and right. You want to know what, like, the Jim Henson puppets do on their time off? This is the shit. It looks amazing.
The Enforcer 2, also, that looked good, but I'm not much of a bounty hunter assassin. Well, Deadpool did bounty hunter assassin type of guy, so I take that
but he
back.
breaks the fourth wall and everything.
Yeah.
Like, he's kind of in a league of his own in this case.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you... Like, what was the one I'm thinking of? The one where it's like the government contracted killer or whatever that we saw. Was that Equalizer?
That's what I'm talking about. The Equalizer 2.
All right, yeah. So it's what him and his partner retire. The partner gets killed by, I assume, people that have a grudge against her, and probably him as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just a revenge movie.
I have not seen Equalizer 1, so I do not know what the whole franchise is about.
I haven't seen the first one either, but I've seen this plot done to death so many times. Like, there's a reason. What's the movie where the dog gets killed and the guy? It's like John something. I'm blanking.
John Wick.
John Wick, yeah. It's the exact same thing, except in John Wick's case, it's his dog.
Damn, he must have really loved that dog.
No, you just pissed him off. That's all it takes. Like, you've dropped the needle and it's pissed him off, and now he's going to kill you for it.
And
Like,
go ahead, sorry.
I've seen so many of these same old story of, oh, well, person close to me dies. Time for revenge on everyone that was involved. Hell, what was the movie? Taken and its sequels are the same thing, except it's a kidnapping rather than someone being killed.
So, was the daughter completely fine in the later installments?
Honestly, it's been a while since I've seen the Taken movies. I want to say that by the end of the first one, she was like drugged up, like she was going to be like a crack whore, basically, is what they were turning her into.
Oh no!
Was the idea? I think if I remember right, he saves her before that happens, but I don't know if she's hooked on drugs or not by the end of that movie.
Oh, and speaking about franchises, we also saw the latest installments of Mission Impossible and The Purge.
The Purge I'm looking forward to. I need to watch the other movies for The Purge because it looks like an interesting idea.
Well, will you want to watch this one that's just coming out first because it's a prequel and then watch all the others?
I would be fine with that, honestly, because it's a prequel. I don't have to... Well, actually, all of the other Purges are kind of self-contained, if I remember correctly.
I believe they are.
They don't overlap each other, is my thoughts. And, main characters don't, as far as I'm aware, touch anything.
I think a side character in the first one may show up in the second one.
That's fine. That doesn't matter. If it's nothing that's, like, plot hinging on knowing stuff from movie to movie, then I don't care. I could watch them in any order and not really give a shit. But yeah, I like the idea of The Purge. I like this whole idea of a psychological experiment and how it works. I was actually watching, what was it? I think it was on Wisecrack on YouTube, where they did like a breakdown of would the Purge actually work, like psychologically speaking, like the movie tries to put forward. And I'm like, oh, this is interesting. I think if I saw it like a week or two ago, and if I recall correctly, I think their answer in the end was no. It shouldn't or couldn't work like that.
Well, that's a relief to hear.
Well, I mean, you really think that people are going to go over well? Then again, like, all the other Purge movies aside from this one have taken place multiple years after the original, right?
Correct.
And if I would put money on it, the government would have hired people to put down those that disagree with the Purge while it's going on.
I believe that's what it's always about. People who really don't want to participate in the Purge and then get attacked by everybody who wants to purge.
Yes and no. A lot of it is like class-based, like social status-based stuff in the Purge. And again, this is talking out of stuff that I've heard just around it. This is me never having seen any of the movies, just hearing about it and from other people of what it's like. But it seems like it's more of like a social class-based thing, where it's like, if you're poor and, you know, you're not one of the majority, you're gonna be purged. Like, I remember that, I think it was in the most recent one, it was like a black family or something that ended up being like, not having the money for quote-unquote purge insurance. And as such, like, they had to, like, go to ridiculous lengths to protect themselves.
I believe the most recent one, like not the one that's just coming out in a few weeks or something, that was the final one of the timeline, because it was about a presidential hopeful, I want to think, and one of her things was, I'm going to stop the purge. Mm-hmm. So she does get elected in the end and stops the purge.
Oh boy!
Yay, politics.
what she got up her sleeve that's worse than the Purge.
She seems like a decent person from what I was reading.
Yes, but looks are deceiving.
Yep. And she's no Wade Wilson, who is fourth wall breaking constantly throughout this movie.
Well, what was the other one that we were talking about aside from the Purge? Like, what was the other new installment?
Impossible?
Yeah, I don't care about Mission Impossible, so, I mean, if we would have skipped that, fine.
Yeah. And that's about...
It stars Tom Cruise again. Yay.
There was that Hospital for Criminal movie.
I thought... Okay, yeah, there was this whole thing where it's like an underground hospital for, like, people that, you know, work in the underground, people that are criminals and organized crime and all that, right?
Hotel Artemis.
Yes. I would have preferred, because we see in the trailer that shit goes wrong in the hospital itself. And people start breaking the rules. I would have preferred if we actually got to watch, like, the hospital stuff going on, and we just got stuff, like... How to put it? Like, you just kind of started understanding from what everyone in the hospital hears what's going on in the outside world. I thought that's where it was going, like, oh, this seems kind of interesting, and then it's like, nope, we got an action flick, because, of course, we got to have guns firing in a hospital.
But it's a secret underground hospital exclusively for criminals.
Yeah, that's why I wanted it to stay secret underground, and the rules, like, there's one safe haven in all of the underground, otherwise it's cutthroat and you're gonna die.
Okay, I understand where you're going now.
Which is why you'd overhear conversations or hear stuff about the criminal underground, and you'd hear it, you know... I'm blanking on the word for this, but it would just be something that you'd hear and start understanding what's going on outside and how these criminal organizations interact with each other normally. But in this one safe haven, you can't do that.
But come on, Jeff Goldblum is in it.
I know. I don't care, really? I just would prefer a much more interesting story than one that's suddenly jumping into action.
Okay.
Like, we have all these rules. Don't shoot. Don't kill the patients. Blah, blah, blah. No, we're going to break the rules. Rules are meant to be broken.
Especially when it comes to time travel.
Just no, stop. Stop, please. Give me one where I'm hearing things like, almost like an ambience kind of thing, where I'm getting a grasp of what the world around me is in this movie. Hell, they could literally make sequels to that shit, right? You could take Hotel Artemis, get a Hotel Artemis 2, and you'd be able to, like, pick up from the previous movie, going into the new one, what's going on and how things have evolved between these warring factions outside of the hospital. And, like, you could have a hospital drama in there, too. Like, obviously that would be the main plot, would be the hospital drama, but you pick up, as you're going through the movie, what's going on the outside and why these people are here.
That seems like more of a television show than a movie.
I could deal with that. That would be cool either way. Like, just getting that ambience kind of world building, just for what people are talking about. Hell, like, even if you had a TV in like Hotel Artemis or something, like, you're in with, like, just a patient or something, and, you know, the nurse comes in to do whatever she needs to do as far as, like, taking care of him, but we're kind of, like, having her blurred out and having the first person perspective of, you know, the patient watching the television and hearing the news about organized crime and shit going on in the city.
That would be interesting.
Like, I would love something interesting like that. But no, we got to make it an action flick. People won't be interested unless that's the case.
Okay, I think that's all the trailers.
Well, all the ones we kind of give a shit about, but yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and we saw, since we did see it at an AMC, yes, name dropping, there was, like, mini trailers for The Grinch throughout the main trailers.
kind of bumpers, I guess would
Yeah,
be a good way to put it.
bumpers, yeah.
I do like the one where he's just like dragging a popcorn machine and he just looks at the audience. Don't judge me. Trailers are long. Just continues dragging it off screen. I'm like, all right, I like this.
And Benedict Cumberbatch is pretty good, so...
It's not bad. It's not bad.
But, onto the main course of Deadpool 2. So how would you want to break this down?
Girlfriend dies is the very first thing that happens, essentially.
Before the opening credits.
More or less, yeah.
And
Like, no, if we want to start like that, we open up with Deadpool sitting on like 7 or 8 cans of some kind of explosive material. I assume it was gasoline or something, and him flicking a cigarette into it while he's laying on top of it all. Just trying to commit suicide.
with a Logan music box.
Yes, with the Logan music box, where he says something along the lines of, that Logan guy killed himself, like got killed, lucky bastard. And he did it before me. But yes, we found a way to axe off, our Wade Wilson girlfriend. Much better than in, what was it, Thor Ragnarok, I think? Or Thor Dark World, where they just were like, nah, she didn't want to come back. She's just gone now. Like, at least this way we had something that was on camera to see, rather than just, the actress didn't want to come back.
And the Deadpool, or Wade in this sense, chucking all the kitchen knives at them was pretty cool.
Oh, yeah, no, like, it was like the scene in the first movie where he's, like, counting the bullets, and he's just, like, throwing all of the knives out of, like, the cutlery drawer, because they've broken into his home. And he's just like, oh, man, good thing we didn't have to use this, what was it, the not sour cream,
cream cheese.
Not the cream cheese spreader. It's a good thing we didn't have to use the cream cheese spreader, of all things. Dear God, the cream cheese spreader.
But come on, cream cheese on chimichangas.
I don't know what kind of chimichangas you eat, boy.
You're right. I don't eat many. But when I do, they're delicious.
But anyway, like, a final guy breaks in. He goes to throw the
cream cheese spreader.
The cream cheese spreader. Guy, I want to say the cream cheese spreader misses or something, and the bullet ends up going through and killing Vanessa. As, we had this whole scene where they were talking about having a family and a kid and all that. She dies. So, there's that. She's gone. She's out of the movie, essentially. Other than, like, a couple of scenes where Wolverine, where Deadpool tries to kill himself and he ends up, like, seeing her, kind of, in, like, I guess
Limbo?
in Limbo, the afterlife, I don't know. Shockingly, Lady Death isn't here, so that romance hasn't started yet. Unless Vanessa somehow takes over for her or something. But he sees her, and it's like a recreation of their apartment, I think. But there's some kind of invisible wall Wade can't pass through.
Since he's still alive.
Because he can't die. Yay, superpowers. Like, he ends up waking up with Colossus dragging him to the X-Men facility in a freaking body bag.
Because he's still in several pieces.
Yeah, he's still in multiple pieces from the explosion.
I just wonder how that would work, because I know in one of the animated, was it like Hulk versus Deadpool or something like that? Deadpool could just like snap his limbs back into place as if they were plastic toy pieces.
Well, that's one thing I've always been curious about when it comes to Deadpool, right? Because there's the scene in the first movie where he's like regrowing his hand. But my thought would be like, could he just like stick the hand next to his like could he rematch the pieces and like they would just grow back together? Because
should I get into like movie stuff?
Hold off for now.
Okay.
Because we'll get to that, and my God, I know the part you're thinking of, and it's great.
Yes.
Anyway, like, we've seen in some of the trailers, like, that kid, like, the fat kid, that Deadpool meets up with and tries to save after Colossus is like, all right, cool, now you have to go help us, all right? You've sat around here long enough, time to go take care of shit.
Oh, and the appearance of the X-Men Days from Future Past cast in the background.
No, hold on. Before we get to the point where he goes out, like, Deadpool's bitching that he's stuck in here. He's, like, wheeling around in Professor X's wheelchair. And, like, as he's whizzing by, he's still complaining that there's nobody here. It's only ever Colossus and Negasonic War Chick. And as he's, like messing around in the background, you just see, like, Beast and all the other X-Men. And they realize he's there. Deadpool doesn't notice them, and they quickly, like, close a fake door or whatever to make sure he doesn't see them. Like, it's almost like wall paneling that they close shut to make sure he doesn't see them. Because they probably don't want to put up with him.
Nobody wants to put up with Deadpool.
Colossus clearly does, because he keeps coming back.
And Negasonic Teenage Warhead.
Oh no, she hates him.
But Yuki kind of likes him.
Yukiko likes him.
Yukiko,
which is Negasonic Teenage Warhead's girlfriend.
Hey, Yukiko. Hey, Deadpool.
No, it's Highway. She never calls him Deadpool. She calls him Wade.
Oh, Wade, yeah. And just being off there, she's a bigger actress in Japan, and she was actually in a adaptation of Beck, which is, I believe, a music anime.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about a different Beck. I think there's a Shakespearean play called Beck.
There is an American artist named Beck from the late 80s, early 90s?
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of?
Yeah, but there is a Japanese... I'm pretty sure it's manga and anime based on a band named Beck.
Huh, okay.
And their slice of life / trials and tribulations being a band.
Okay. But, yeah, let's get back to Deadpool and having Wade go out to try to, like, save this kid who's, like, wants to go on a rampage and is surrounded by, like, police. And Wade ends up eventually calming him down after, obviously, some really good laughs.
And potentially befriending him, but not?
He finds out that the kid was abused by the people that were in control of the orphanage he was from.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of, like, turning them over to the authorities, he just shoots one of them and ends up, like, not being able to get to the other one because Colossus comes in and just tackles him to the ground. So Deadpool and the kid end up getting put in, like, mutant restriction collars, or what is it? Mutant power collars or whatever that lock down their powers.
Yeah, that
so they can't
use
use
powers.
Them. So Deadpool and the kid are just thrown into, like, the icebox prison. So Deadpool is just powerless. He's slowly dying of cancer again. And the kid, like, thinks Deadpool is, like, his best buddy now. And he creates a butt pen that he smuggled in his jailhouse wallet, I think was the way it was put.
That boy has a butt pen. He will stab you in the ass if you are not careful.
But they go in there. Things don't go too well because Deadpool's still, like, kind of in depression territory where he's just, like, kind of given up until Cable shows up finally, like, a third of the way into the movie.
Good old Thanos.
Really? I thought he was Darkseid.
No, but I was actually watching, I think it was an interview with Conan O'Brien or Stephen Colbert, like one of the two, like what would happen if Deadpool would be in Infinity War, and he would probably call out Thanos as like one of the characters from the Goonies, and oh my god, what happened to your chin?
No, I would have gone with like the California Raisins reference.
Maybe he would have did something like that, but no, because
Long lost member of the California Raisins.
No. Josh Brolin was in the Goonies, so Deadpool would have called him by...
Yeah, he could have.
Yeah, Deadpool would have called him by his Goonie character name, and oh my god, what happened to your chin?
And why are you purple?
Yeah, but that's just part of the interview I saw, so... Cable, oh my god, he is such a... Does that gun have like 12 different settings on just with a little dial?
It literally looks like a dial off of an electric guitar.
I was guessing like locker combination locker.
I'm pretty sure it's a guitar.
Okay.
And like it's too big. Plus, if I remember right, it's smooth. Whereas if it was a locker dial, it would have grooves, to like rub on with your fingers a bit better.
That's why there was an 11 on it. There was a 11 setting on it.
I thought it was all the way up to 12.
Oh, maybe.
But I saw that and I'm just like, oh. It looks so cool because it seems more like a shockwave gun.
Maybe?
Because I didn't see outright like lasers or bullets out of that big thing.
Maybe on lower settings it can fire more machine gun style, and like on higher settings it can fire more like cannon style blast. Like the higher the number, like the more condensed the shot.
Maybe. Because it seems like it takes a while to charge up for like the big shots that it was using at one point. But yeah, Cable comes back from the future because, his family's dead, and he's very upset about that. And he wants to come back in time to fix it. So he ends up breaking into the icebox prison that Deadpool's in and start destroying the place. Deadpool thinks he's after him. Turns out he's actually after the kid. Because Deadpool and him are in the same cell. Right? Yes. And then after like a huge brawl, they like fall out of the prison, like through a hole in the wall due to an explosion that Wade triggers. And during this whole thing, at some point, Wade's the neck brace choker thing or whatever that's taking away his powers is broken, and he gets them back.
Actually, this was during the lunchroom brawl.
I said at some point during the fight. So yeah, that happens. Just after he like snaps his spine in two.
But unfortunately, Russell is still in the prison.
Russell is the kid's name, by the way. I don't think I actually mentioned his name until you said it.
Or Fire Fist.
Fire Fist.
Don't you remember that?
Such a stupid name.
I think Deadpool also calls him out on, man, does it go up to your arm or is it just your fist?
He does.
Oh, seems like it's your whole arm.
That's such a dumb name. It's not as bad as Negasonic Teenage Warhead. Like, that's just a mouthful.
No, but
still.
I think Deadpool says, holy shit, that is the best name ever.
What else was there? Anyway, yeah, they get separated as they broke out. We have Wade now who's, in death again, because he's, in freezing cold water or something, I think. Because they're, in the mountains in the north somewhere. But he sees Vanessa again. When he first got there the first time, he heard like her say, what was it? Like, your heart's not in the right place or something?
Something like that.
Uh-huh.
And then
he gets...
second one was like her expounding on that a little bit, but not enough.
The second one, I think, is where he has the realization that he needs to save the kid.
Oh, it's like, don't worry, like, we can still be a family. And then he's like, the kid!
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Or he realizes it. And now since, we had this big break and the people in charge of the prison are realizing they have to move everyone because the prison's a wreck.
And can we just talk about Black Tom Cassidy for just a second? Who is, like, the subject of all this, like, anti-racist humor. It's like, hey, like, why did you beat him up? He was an African-American when he's clearly white.
That's just racist.
And it's like, I'm Black Tom Cassidy. Hi, I'm White Wade Wilson.
I mean, maybe that's what the middle initial stands for, because he was, Wade W. Wilson?
Oh, okay.
Maybe that's what his middle name is, White. But, this is where we get X-Force assembling.
Oh, X-Force.
That we see out of the movie, or out of the trailers.
The scene that they always talk about.
with our amazing character Peter.
Oh, Peter.
And of course we need to add in the best hero of them all.
Zeitgeist.
Dopinder.
No,
Dopinder. How Zeitgeist, really? It's got to be Dopinder. Come on, man.
Dopinder needs a spin-off. Dopinder needs a spin-off.
You realize that Deadpool would have to be in half the movie, right? Because that's more or less his job now, is just fucking shuttle Deadpool around.
No, just Dopinder trying to be a normal cabbie, but he's constantly being interrupted by Deadpool. It's like crazy.
I want to see the lost scenes where he like beats up the girl he likes boyfriend and tries to kill him. Actually does kill him.
It would be like, what's that, Crazy Taxi, but the movie. Hang on, Mr. Poole, we are heading off a sharp ramp. Ah!
Oh god. But we
Those
assemble
were fun games, Crazy Taxi.
We assemble X-Force. We get to meet all these new mutants, one of which is just a straight up an invisible guy who they don't know if he's even at the interview or not yet. And they go off to try and like not infiltrate, but like they go in a plane and parachute down onto like the big convoy that's taking all the prisoners.
And can I just say one thing about Zeitgeist? I just found the hilarious line is, no, I have acidic vomit. Do you guys want to see?
Yeah, please! Zeitgeist's ability is just straight up acidic vomit.
And Domino, who is incredibly lucky.
Is that her canon power?
Yes.
Because I always thought her power was like accuracy, right? Like she was extremely accurate, which is why like in the, I think it was in X-Men Evolution, she was always like wielding a pistol or something like that.
I think accuracy is a side effect of luck.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, luck isn't a superpower. Yes, it is.
Not according to Deadpool, it's not. The authority on all mutant powers.
It's not very cinematic. Cut to a montage.
As amazing cinematics happen. Like, as literally she's just walking through the street, cars zipping in front and behind her, getting into an accident. One of the cars literally, like, somersaulting over top of her. As she's slowly
almost
walking.
right beside her.
Yeah, landing almost right beside her. I think at one point there was literally, it hit like a street light, which came down, and she just ends up stepping over top of because it lands in front of her and doesn't touch her.
But it's like collateral damage due to luck is catastrophic around her.
I don't even know if it's the luck that's causing the damage, or if it's the fact that it's just not touching her.
I think it's the fact that it's not touching her, but everything is happening around her, as if she has like some magic luck bubble around her.
Can I just petition that her luck triggers in reality and we get a Domino spin-off movie? Because, my God, I would be down with that shit. That looks so awesome.
And
I'm just lucky and shit happens around me.
And I just love, like, the 3-second cameo by Brad Pitt in it. And he plays Vanisher. Vanisher is parachuting down, gets hit by
He's the invisible guy. Yes.
Yeah. He gets, like, electrocuted, his powers turn off, and it's Brad Pitt for, like, 3 seconds.
It's just a corpse laying there.
And, Bedlam was Terry Crews, who
literally parachutes in and gets hit by a bus.
And I'm like, wait, that's Terry Crews.
We see Zeitgeist parachute in. He somehow lands into the back of an active chipper. Peter ends up being just fine, but he runs over to help Zeitgeist, who, as he's trying to pull him out, spits his acidic vomit and melts off Peter's arm.
And Shatterstar, who is an alien, so I'm better than all humans.
Who parachutes into the spinning propeller blades of an helicopter, and we just get sprayed with green blood, and like his stupid ass ponytail hair or braided hair just slapping on top of it.
And a few days ago,
Hold on, let me just add to that. His blood looks like Nickelodeon slime or Nickelodeon gas.
Oh my God! Now I see it now.
It's like I was watching Slime Time from the 90s.
But I was reading why they don't survive that long, because they were all killed off in early installments of past X-Force. So like Bedlam, Shatterstar, Zeitgeist, and Vanisher all faced less than happy endings. Yeah.
I mean, I was going to say, at least they survived a few issues in that case. In this one, they're like, what? They're in the movie for like 15 minutes?
Less? Except for Domino.
Yeah, save for Domino, who makes it all the way to the end, surprisingly. That superpower called luck is very nice.
As I was asking you, is she Deadpool's girlfriend? And in some iterations of like the franchise, she is like in a relationship with Deadpool.
Yeah, I wasn't sure how much of a relationship it was, whether it was just like, you know, an off and on fling, or if it was like full on like interconnected relationship with girlfriend, boyfriend, or fiance, whatever.
Because Vanessa is in the Deadpool comics as, I believe I was reading, Copycat, who is kind of a Mystique type of character, like change your appearance.
Mm.
But I think like Deadpool has like 3 fluctuating girlfriends that he goes between.
Yeah, he was with Domino at one point. I think he was with Rogue at one point.
Oh, then it must have been more than 3.
And I think there was one more that I'm not remembering off the top of my head.
Copycat, who was Vanessa.
Was there another one? Or was it just those 2 that you knew of?
Lady Death?
Obviously that one. I was thinking of another X-Men person.
I do not know.
Either that, or maybe he's just, you know, ogling them at that point. I don't know. But anyway, Domino ends up getting on the convoy.
Psylocke?
And it might have been Psylocke, actually, yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, Domino gets onto the thing, the convoy and gets control of it. Deadpool now has his new vehicle of choice, the Deadped. His little red moped that he stole from someone that was ogling the crash that Domino just created. Or were they ogling the bus that freaking Terry Crews ended up crashing into?
Yes, it was that.
Was it the bus? Okay, yeah. He gets on his new red moped that I personally christened the Deadped, and just starts zooming off, talking over comms with freaking Domino and mocking her for the fact that luck isn't a superpower as she's literally making shit happen around her.
That moped was very toyetic.
God. But eventually Deadpool gets on. Cable's there as well after he's like threatened to kill what's his name, the guy that's running the Deadpool bar. I'm blanking on his name. Weasel. He's literally threatening Weasel and telling him like, I'm going to torture you, and I have an entire list in my head about how it's going to go down. And we just cuts him off. No, I won't even get to one. He just starts spilling everything.
Because I have a condition, I don't like pain that much. You won't get anything out of me until you threaten me again, and then I will explain everything about him that I know.
I have a nervous erection. Please don't look. It'll make it worse. But that's how that's how Cable knows exactly where to be.
And there's a mystery mutant. That's a big plot device for later on.
He ends up dropping in and trying to like find Russell and kill him. Deadpool ends up getting in, trying to save Russell, and ends up fighting him, as well as like Domino, literally being like, Jesus, take the wheel, walks away from the freaking controls and goes to help Deadpool deal with Cable. Meanwhile, Russell ends up releasing the big bad that's been hidden from us the entire movie.
Juggernaut.
It's Juggernaut. One of Deadpool's apparently, biggest... Like, what is he? He's like Juggernaut's biggest fan, I think he said.
Something like that.
And Juggernaut just grabs him and is like, I'm going to rip you in half now.
Oh!
Just tears him in half.
And Deadpool goes like, wait, what? no, he's like, I'd like to see you. Ow!
Hence why we're curious if he would just put, like, the ripped off torso to the ripped off pelvis and just slap them together, would they grow back together?
Or is the Deadpool legs now also growing a new body? Deadpool is like
There's a clone.
Deadpool is like a starfish. Chop off a limb and you will have a new Deadpool in 6 to 8 weeks.
I don't know, for what it seems like he asked Domino to just like use him, like carry him like a backpack. Which I think she had his legs too, so he had both things with him. I don't know what he did with the legs. But anyway, he's back at like the old granny's place. What's her name? I don't remember.
Blind Al.
He's back at Blind Al's place because apparently the fancy party he had with Vanessa, he doesn't have anymore. I don't know. Either that or he's just there to get cocaine again.
It's right next to the cure for blindness, which was a callback to the first movie. But you see like Weasel, Domino walk in and just be like, what are we going to do? And he's got baby legs now. And no pants on.
Constantly flashing them. And Blind Al's just like, I can't even see what's going on right now. And I'm just sitting there like, oh, lady, you don't want to know.
I would just love to be...
She reaches over at one point, and she's like, I think she like tries to pat his leg or something, and she doesn't realize he has baby legs, and he's like, she pats his dick.
Did your hand get small again? Oh, that's not my hand.
Yanks. Ugh. Domino and Weasel show up trying to like get him to come back, and then Cable comes in. And they all pull guns on him, and you just see Wade crossing and recrossing his legs, and Cable's like, "Did you really have to do that?"
Except Blind Al has no idea where to point the gun, so she's pointing in all directions. And Wade just slowly takes her hand, pushes it towards Cable. Like, there we go.
So they end up making a pact together, where Deadpool gets 30 seconds to try to keep Russell from killing someone, which once he does, it'll put him on a killing spree. Which it turns out Russell is the killer of Cable's family. And the whole reason he came back to kill him was because, as an adult, Russell murders a lot of people.
So many.
But now that the Juggernaut's on the loose, he can't do it alone. He needs other people. And in this case, for whatever reason, he doesn't go to the X-Men. He goes to Deadpool. He doesn't go to the Avengers. That would cross the streams. We can't have that. I don't know why he doesn't go to Spider-Man. God knows. Actually, speaking of which, when are we getting our Deadpool Spider-Man romance?
Oh.
Because God knows they love each other so much.
No, what was the one thing that I saw? It's like Deadpool on Spider-Man's back. Spider-Man is like climbing up a building, and Deadpool says like, "Oh, if only the fangirls could see it now, they'd be all over us." And Spider-Man says like, "What are you talking about?" And Deadpool says, "Well, apparently you and I visit different websites."
Oh god, it's so good. Like like Deadpool just torments poor Spider-Man constantly. That's why I want it to happen so bad. I was really hoping for it this time around, but no luck. Maybe in Deadpool 3.
Although I found out that, speaking of Spider-Man, the Venom movie is not part of the MCU.
I did hear that too. Which I thought was
interesting down the line to see.
I was going to say, I thought that was strange. That Spider-Man is still owned by Fox, isn't it? Same with the Fantastic Four.
It's owned by Fox because it's part of the MCU, but at the same time, its own thing.
Mm-hmm. But they, anyway, let's get back to it, where they end up forming a teaming thing where they go in, they save, they end up having what? They end up going to the X Mansion after Colossus and the others have just been like, "No, I'm not helping you anymore," after he tried to kill the headmaster of that orphanage or whatever.
"Come on, Colossus, come back to me. I need you.
Hi, Wade. Hi, Yukiko.
Hey, Wade."
Goes back to Colossus. "Please come back." Gives up on him. Gets back into the goddamn taxi with Dopinder. Actually, the entire movie, Dopinder wants to be a goddamn hero. He wants to be a mercenary like Deadpool. And he's literally getting bossed around by Weasel in the bar. Like, "I am courageous. I can be a..." "Are you courageous enough to go and restock those napkin dispensers?"
Sanitary napkins.
Same thing. Doesn't matter.
Sanitary napkins is to absorb menstruation.
My point is, it doesn't really matter what it is. He's still doing the same job either way.
Okay.
But do you have enough courage? I almost feel bad for Dopinder because he's just getting shit on the entire time.
Especially when Peter gets hired and he has no powers. Dopinder's in the room.
Dopinder's in the background and he's just he throws the broom or mop or whatever he's got in his hand just on the ground. He's just so upset.
Like, "What the shit, Mr. Poole?" And talking about funny background events, there were a few in this movie.
Oh, we're getting to a real good one.
Yes.
We're like, what was it? It was, they all try to deal with, what's his name? With Juggernaut. And eventually they realize they can't because Deadpool like gets thrown across this the area, the yard, and his head lands on like a garden spike or a little mini garden fence spike. And out of nowhere, we just see Colossus pick him up, bridal style. And in the background, Cable's getting his ass handed to him by Juggernaut. As like this amazing like musical love song is playing between Deadpool and Colossus.
I'm all out of love. Do, 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 do.
So eventually he like yanks the like garden fence spike out of his head, and like you just hear everything like the record skip a beat, like scratch and everything, and just stops. And Colossus ends up like going to deal with Juggernaut, and of course, as he goes, Wade slaps him on the ass.
And he says like, "Hey, this is an awesome CG fight."
Pretty much, yeah. That's exactly what's about to happen. But as that's happening, Deadpool and Cable go off to try and get to Russell before he murders the headmaster and starts down his dark path to evil. And what ends up happening is that Deadpool tries to do what he sets out to do and save the kid. Kid ends up not trusting him and burning him as they're like embracing in a hug.
So then Deadpool, to show that he is serious, puts on the power restraining collar, and his time runs out to save Russell. So Cable takes one last shot, and Wade
with
jumps
the last
in the way.
bullet. Yeah, and Wade jumps in the way, dies.
For real, since...
Well, hold on. Before he does, he has like this whole scene where he's just like drawing out his death.
And I found it hilarious. That was the exact second you chose to go to the bathroom.
It was a perfect timing because it lasts for a while and it's kind of like just there for the lulls.
Kind of. It's like lully sort of seriousness. It's like played up for like this big serious scene, like him saying like, "Oh, goodbye everybody." Like
that had to be a good 3-4 minutes of just padding. Because I got back and it was still going on.
Saying like, "Hey, Sabrina the Teenage Bitch, you're not so bad after all. Cable, like, I'm sorry for this. Yukio. Hey, Yukio. Hey, Wade."
Like, what was it? They try to get the collar off, but Deadpool's just like, no, let it happen. Like, literally to the point where Russell comes over with his butt pen and tries to undo it.
Oh, and wait, what did he say to Cable? It's like, don't judge a man by the color of their skin, but by the quality of their heroicness. Talking about Black Tom Cassidy again.
But he ends up dying, seeing Vanessa. You know, they have this whole reunion where he walks through that, like, invisible wall he couldn't get through before, and he's just Ryan Reynolds again. He's not fucked up looking Deadpool.
An avocado has sex with an older avocado.
Yeah, he no longer looks like that. And then we have the point where the entire movie gets rewritten. No, actually, no, I lie. Not quite where the entire movie gets rewritten. Not yet. But Cable takes his thing that he had was like a little device that let him jump forward and backward in time. The longer, the further... It's kind of, I guess, yeah. I usually think of a time machine as a big bulky thing, though.
Okay, so
not like a wristwatch, essentially.
Yeah, time watch.
Anyway, he has enough power for 2 jumps, and the farther back in time he goes, the more inaccurate it becomes.
But come on, what about the time tape?
Look, that one has accuracy, all right? He doesn't have access to that shit. That hasn't been developed in his time.
Okay.
But he goes back and he uses up one charge to get to the quote-unquote present where Deadpool's at. And from there, he uses the last jump to put a what was it? It was a skee-ball token, the same token that he had gotten for Vanessa for their anniversary before she died, that he had taken during the fight, and slapped it back on him and put it in the exact place where the bullet would hit him, and saved his life that way.
Wade gave Vanessa the skee-ball token. Cable stole the token.
Yep.
Yeah, because he just kept saying he, and I'm like, overuse of pronoun.
Whatever.
Yes.
Anyway, saves him. Credits roll. We see that when Wade first does it, the bear changes from being like half charred and cindered back to like a regular teddy bear from his daughter, which is still the case even after, Cable goes back and rewrites Wade's death.
And now he's stuck in the present.
Yep. He's stuck in the present. And of course, Deadpool's just like, you did it all for me!
No, I didn't. Yes, he did! No.
It literally goes around like that for like a good 2 minutes. Juggernaut ended up being taken out by Colossus, Yukiko, and Negasonic as well. Colossus, grabs him, throws him into the water after Yukiko has wrapped, an electrically charged bolo around his legs so he can't walk.
And once he's... Or...
Colossus shoves an electrical cord up his ass.
Oh, okay.
And then I think Negasonic blasts him into this pool, and he gets electrocuted. So here's the thing, too. As we're walking out at the end of the movie with all of the surviving cast and everything, we see in the background that fucking Juggernaut's just crawling out of the pool that he was in.
Oh, I missed that!
He was just crawling out of the pool.
I missed that!
He's alive. And is still on the loose.
Well, he's a Juggernaut, bitch.
It's like they just forgot about him. And then we have our end credit sequences. Oh, God. So, do you want to take the first one?
The one where he resets time and brings Vanessa back to life. And, wait, what does he do? Thank goodness we sharpened the cream cheese knife, and they just kills the guy that was going to kill Vanessa with it.
Yeah, I think he had Negasonic and Yukiko working on the time clock or whatever it was that Cable used to get back there. And apparently he used it to go and save Vanessa. So which now means the entire plot of the movie is moot.
Except for the whole Russell portion.
Yeah, aside from Russell himself, every single reason Deadpool had for doing anything is now moot. All of his motivation is gone.
And then he kills the alternate Deadpool from that.
Yeah, he starts fucking with, dimension shit now. He goes back to, what was it, Wolverine Origins or something?
X-Men Origins Wolverine.
X-Men Origins Wolverine, where we had, this shitty Deadpool with his mouth sewn shut. He just walks in and shoots him. He's like, hi, Wolvie. Hey, bud, it's me.
Just fixing the timeline. And they cut to archive footage of Hugh Jackman just staring at him what just happened? and then cut to Ryan Reynolds going oh, Green Lantern, I've hit the big time. And then Deadpool kills Ryan Reynolds.
With a bullet through his head and through the script. Not only has he rewritten the point of the movie, actually, here's the other thing, now that I'm thinking about it, right? You're fucking with time travel.
Yes.
If Russell is fixed, then and the timeline is being rewritten, then that means Cable shouldn't be there anymore. His whole point for coming back no longer exists. So he would have never done it. Like, you're creating a paradox here.
You've seen Dragon Ball Super. You know how time paradoxes work.
I need to point them out because it doesn't make sense.
Time paradoxes never make sense. That's why
That's
they're
why
paradox.
That's why I need to bring them up. Like, and even in Deadpool's case, not only has he made the entirety of the point of the movie, in his case, moot, he shouldn't have any memories of it now. Because he never would have done it.
Yes. And Deadpool 3 has been confirmed.
Obviously, fucking Deadpool 2 sold out, so it passed Star Wars, I think.
But not Passion of the Christ. Like, domestically.
God, of course. Gotta mention that joke. It just references how Deadpool 1 he broke box office records.
But I heard we did well overseas.
I like how that joke is worded, too, because you could literally go to almost any country and say that, even if it's not true, and be believable.
Although I heard there is going to be an X-Force spinoff.
Oh, no. Don't tell me it's going to be like Suicide Squad.
I
Don't
know, but that's what I heard. There will be a X-Force and a Deadpool 3.
How? Aren't they all dead still?
Well, there were multiple members to the X-Force that...
I mean, Peter is still alive, because he goes back and saves Peter.
Yes. Oh, that's
so Peter
right.
can show up.
So, maybe, if they're going to be in the Deadpool continuity, Peter wants to put together a team of heroes. Yeah, because the X-Force was actually a sub-branch of the X-Men. I'm not sure, but I knew the X-Force is a real comic series.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't just a joke that Deadpool made.
Long story short, go watch this movie.
Yes, it is amazing, incredible, hilarious.
I fucking loved it. It's at minimum on par with the last movie. I think it's still better.
Yeah, I would say better as well.
Like, there's so much DC bashing in this movie. Holy shit.
And like, a little bit of Marvel bashing, too.
Oh, yeah.
But,
like, there's a big Marvel DC bash. It's like having... Like, one of his excuses for showing up late to his anniversary was that he was having a fight with a supervillain, and he found out that both his and the villain's mother's name were Martha. It's so beautiful.
So, I guess that wraps up this review.
I believe so. Go see the movie. It's very good.
Yes. So, later.
Bye.